cinnamon. This is Whole Foods, so
Oh, that's Whole Foods.
yeah.
Hi, everybody. We're 23 minutes late, which might be a world record for us. I'm just giving up and going live. And yes, we have food. Of course we do. We also have this hopefully amazing.
Oh, and I have some wine in the. Listen, I'm a
Marula-
cold wine person, so my wine goes in the freezer.
Marula cream wine from Cape Africa that we're going to try. And Sarika's got a great spread for us. We got, hi, that's LaToya. Sorry,
How are you?
LaToya, I didn't mean to ambush you like that.
She did.
Anyway, we've got food, coffee, wine. Abby brought that delicious dip that she keeps foisting on us. And I'm going to try.
It's a cinnamon
What do you want to
cranberry
put?
and goat.
I don't know. I'm thinking about. I don't know if it gets us all here.
Yeah, well,
But then it has
make sure
Abby's,
the camera is wiped off so
Let's
it's
go.
not a blurry.
Abby's back.
Let me back. Let's see. I'm trying to think. There's nothing else to prop it on.
Whoops, sorry.
Yeah, that's clear.
Thank you. Okay, we good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so y'all have to watch us eat and drink, whether you're live or watching this later. So is that a tuna thing?
Yeah, Brian made tuna fish.
Oh my goodness. Thank you.
This is my childhood right here.
Oh yes.
French onion dip.
So we used to make the sour cream lip and onion soup mix dip and have potato chips and watch like old Mary Tyler Moore reruns and like feel sorry for ourselves on Friday nights. And we used to call it wallowing in self-pity. And then we just shortened it to wallowing. So that's what I feel like doing is wallowing.
So that reminded me of a phrase that I use, which is called closet days. Closet days are days that I'm in a funk and anything I do like undoes any of the good I've done before.
Mhm.
Like I'm gonna say something wrong, I'm gonna get mad, I'm gonna do something, so I just need to hide in the closet. So it's a closet day. There's also red light days where you're driving along and you hit every single red light.
Oh, story of my life.
So anyway, what did you?
Hey, so come on.
It kind of helps to give them a name, right?
Come on,
Like
hey,
you
so.
identify and be like, oh, it's one of those days.
You
Right.
know what? I think that does help. That's smart.
Just
Yeah,
one of
when you-
those.
That creates another delay trying to figure it out.
Right. What's going on? Oh, it's a red light.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna be late. It's just gonna be.
Those are days I go back to sleep.
Okay, so
I
for
go
you,
back to
they're
sleep.
sleep days. For me, they're closet days.
I go back
just
to
wanna hide
sleep.
in the closet.
I know that feeling.
It's that is what it is day.
Yes. And I think,
So who made this tuna? That looks so good.
Brian made the tuna.
thank you, Brian.
Oh.
I think what is it is everybody's having those days right now
Yeah.
because everything is just miserable.
Mhm.
You know, and nobody's happy. And everybody's mad about everything.
I mean, weren't we happy before though? I mean,
Oh, I think-
I think that we have another layer or another flavoring to our general feel.
I think so.
Like,
I think
but
that
I don't think we were ever really. I mean, people that were happy, and people that weren't.
I agree with
don't
that.
know.
And I agree with the whole happiness set point thing, right? Which like all of us have sort of a general, excuse my beat,
You're fine.
a general level of happiness or contentment or whatever you want to call it.
Sorry.
And most of us, no matter what happens, we kind of return to that level afterwards. You know, after some terrible traumatic event, right? We end up within about 6 months being at that same level of happiness as we were before. But I think what's challenging about right now, thank you, is that we're in this like now whatever 2-year extended trauma and uncertainty
Mhm.
that we can't control at all. And that's another big part of happiness or contentment, right? Or whatever you want to call it.
Mhm.
It's the stuff you can't control that makes you crazy.
Right. Now this, you say this is from Africa?
It's from Cape Africa.
Mm.
Like
I'm gonna try some.
That milky. I'm gonna
Yeah.
It's like
Cream.
creamy. So just
Oh, it could be
no,
like what the Haitian
has-
people have, which is
it
the
has-
cremas.
it has
Yeah.
a gazillion calories per sip,
Yeah.
probably.
Gazillion.
Creamy.
What makes it good?
Those things, right?
How is it, Erica?
Nothing's ever good without calories.
No.
No, this is good. You know, it reminds me of the creamers. It reminds me of it's a Spanish drink. You remember the cashew cream?
We have one in Venezuela
Cashew.
called Ponche Crema, which tastes like Ponche Crema.
Mhm.
Ponche Crema.
No, this is good.
Oh my god, everything is so good.
Everything is
I know,
good.
I like
Anyway, if you missed this
The
before,
combination.
it's a Cape Africa Marula cream wine. You know what's so interesting about that? How almost every culture in the world has like an analogous dish or drink, right? No matter like how different the cultures are, whether or not they traded centuries ago, like
Oh, you ate it.
I'm gonna go grab my iced tea. I left it in the car, and if I just do the marula cream, I'll be pretty tipsy. I'll be right back, ladies. Where's your baby? Where's your other baby?
I put them outside because she's allergic.
so everybody like it's like they spontaneously came up with the same things is what it feels like a lot of times. You know what I mean? Which is so funny.
Like we're all cooking the same thing with different spices.
Right, but it's the
Different
same
flavors.
kind of like base type thing.
I see that there's this like, and that's why I love TikTok, because TikTok shows you so many different cultures of food, and you get to appreciate it. I saw this one, a Georgian dish, and the country, it's this fried chicken with this garlic cream sauce on it. It
Oh my
looks
goodness.
delicious, and I'm like, okay, now I need to find a Georgian restaurant to find it, because I'm pretty sure it's like a very it's an authentic dish that you gotta try.
What is it again?
It's a fried chicken, no batter. It's just a fried chicken,
No
and
batter.
it's dipped in, it's drenched. It's like in a soup bowl.
You wanted it, don't you?
It's in a soup bowl of garlic sauce, and they just eat the chicken in the soup, and it looks really good. Like, and I'm a big garlic fan, anyways. And chicken, garlic and chicken. You know. Speaking of, I got some chicken in the air fryer.
There's a new Russian Orthodox church in one of the business buildings on Atlantic, like between Federal and Dixie's. And the Russian Orthodox are very similar to the Greek Orthodox, so a lot of times we'll go to one or the other. And I bet there's somebody, I'm wondering if there's somebody that goes to that church. So there must be a decent enough Russian Orthodox community now that they've opened a church, which I had not heard that we had a big Russian Orthodox community. But I
So
guess
where
we
was
do.
the dish from?
Georgia.
So
Georgia.
Well, let's Google it. Did you Google it?
No, I saw it on TikTok. So I just said, hey, I'm gonna press something.
So,
I like this one too, but I think I like the blueberry.
do you like the blueberry better?
I like the blueberry.
I like this one.
I like the cinnamon spice to it.
Yeah, I love the cinnamon.
It is good though.
So what have you been doing? It's been a couple of weeks, right, since we met.
Oh
It
man,
feels like forever.
there's been so much going on, and Good things though. Good things. And trying to balance. Really trying to balance life. And John.
These all have batter.
Hmm?
All of these have batter. And I'm seeing the fried chicken with gravy.
Mm-hmm. This one didn't have any, but it was fried. Well, it didn't have any batter on it, but it was fried golden brown though. Like, I'm not sure I can find it.
So I don't know if we talked about this on the actual airing time or not, but I can't remember who said it, but we all agreed that our Wednesdays are like going to church.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And so I was thinking about why is that? And I think it has to do with the connection and the feeling of just belonging and being in a place where it's safe to be you and to be able to voice who you are, your opinions, even if you know they may be different, but not be attacked. And, and find that commonality. I was watching this,
Especially when we feel so divided.
right. So I was watching this show, which I'm sure you've heard of if you haven't watched it, called Mom. Have you seen that?
No.
So Mom, it's pretty funny, but what I found, I'm looking at it, I'm like, why are people interested in this show? And I think the big thing is, again, they have a group of people that are doing life together, but they're all alcoholics. So, they have the sponsors and their support groups and everything. But it's a funny show. It's not a sad show. It's about, the mom who is an alcoholic who raises the daughter who was then an alcoholic and they've been in recovery for years. And they're going to these meetings and whatever. But, if somebody needed something, they'd call up and they'd all run over and be with them. Mm-hmm. And I think that, when I read, there was a book years ago called The Divine Secrets of the Yaya Sisterhood.
Oh, I love that.
Yes.
Well,
and again, it's all the women, they get together, they have their kids, they watch them at the lake, and then they grow up, and then they're old together, and they're playing cards, and but they're always a group. They're always people who are, in this thing, and that's what feels like, church to me. So.
Yes, no, I like
I
that.
think we are church to each other.
Yeah.
We are church to each other. Here, we have, the church is in us. Mm-hmm. The people are the church. I can't.
Yes.
We just congregate in a holy place.
Well, we make it holy by being here.
Right. Yeah.
We bring. I think that the power of coming together. I mean, remember when the witches, when they would talk about witches, you need a certain number of witches to come together to create a power. It's like, I think that's it. You bring together, and we are more together than separate.
Yes, and it feels like church in that I feel replenished afterwards. And as busy as I might be, and it's like, I don't have time for this, but, I'm always glad we did it, and I always feel better and like ready for whatever's next. Do you know what I mean? And that's the church-like thing. Yes. I'm looking back through our text messages because there's some new reality show, and I can't find it now.
The one that you tagged about the other day?
Yeah. Right, where they're putting all these people in a house, switch houses or whatever, and like the one family.
Ava DuVernay is doing that one.
Oh yeah,
it's exactly what we're doing here, like on reality.
They copied us. They heard about it, and they decided to.
Clearly,
and they had the money to move on it. So
right. Right. Well, with that said, I think it would be nice if we could create some sort of a more of a structure within what we're doing.
I agree.
And
Well, shoot, I got all the lighting.
You got what?
All the lighting.
okay.
To do the lighting. Oh, for filming. I'm sitting here.
To create the setting. Somebody was telling me there's a place in Deerfield that I have to find that has the whole setting. All we have to do is show up and start talking.
There used to be, I don't know if they're still here, it's a company called O2 Media. They actually have a channel, but they produce a lot of stuff and they're in Deerfield.
Wow,
They're one of our
really?
clients when I was at ComScore, yeah.
Well, maybe
I
there's
gotta
a
call this other because
conversation
there's
to have.
different settings.
Yeah. They used to do some of like the Denise Austin videos, things like that. It's really interesting and they're right. There's all kinds of businesses here that we have like no idea. Right here.
I kind of like the feel of doing it in our home.
Me too.
So,
I like
'cause it
that too.
gives a
But
It
good
window,
makes it
lighting
more
is-
personable.
and makes
Yes.
people a window into a life.
Right.
You know, it's
Stage.
It's a little bit
It's real
more-
life.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. We're totally on stage.
Mhm.
Like
Not
when I
at
knocked-
23 minutes late. We
Yeah.
can't be staged. Not
like when I knocked my laptop off
Oh
this
my
table.
God.
And I was right in the middle of our streaming, and it kept streaming, but my laptop was done for. We're like, oh, we're totally not insta perfect here. Oh my
Right.
God.
And you're not perfect. You don't want to appear perfect.
And
No.
life is not insta perfect.
No.
No.
You know, what I was
We're gonna
referring
make
to with
mistakes.
structures, like have little segments, kind of like things that we could, touch on. But I
I
don't
think so
know.
too. I do think it's a good idea, and we do this sometimes, and then we don't.
We have a theme.
A theme and what we're gonna talk
We
about.
We
is
did. We haven't done that in a while.
No, we haven't because I
Because we always get off of it, so it's
Right.
like, why even try?
Right, but I think it's good to start, and then I think it gives us, even as we're driving or if we have an extra minute to just think about, what do I want to talk about? What do we want to talk about today? And I can't believe I grabbed a knife to spear the fruit
Well, I brought up the
because
church.
that's how. Yeah, I like that.
Mhm.
I do like that.
And what about it was, what about it is church? And again, I think it's the togetherness. I think
Yeah.
it's the strength that's created by coming together in a place of grace and love and acceptance.
Mhm.
As because we are very different human beings. We're all in different places in our lives. We're in different places, with finances. We're in different places.
With relationships.
with
Everything.
everything.
And we come from
But
very
we
different
still-
backgrounds, and we grew up in different places, and
Right.
But we still have space for each other, and
Yes.
and genuine space. Not I'm tolerating you.
No.
It's no, I'm loving.
I
on
look
you.
forward to
Non-judgmental.
seeing you.
Yeah,
Right.
and I'm loving on you. I am.
and that's what
I am
seems so.
seeing you, and I am loving who you are and where you are on your journey.
And that's
You
the
know.
spiritual aspect of what we do,
Yeah,
is
I
that
like
we
that,
see
yes.
past this shell, this vessel that we have, and we really deal with the spirit, because this journey we're all on this journey in this life. It is hard. It is
So
hard, and when you don't have people to talk to who can just say, "I get it," like
Right,
not
and not
judgment,
judge. Yes.
just "I get it."
Right. Or
Like-
or they won't say I'm going to try to fix it.
Yeah.
No, just
I get it. Like with no, I don't have a solution for you. I don't have any advice for you. I get it. Have some wine. Like, let's eat. Like, and that's the thing that connects us too, is that we, food is one of those things that, we identify that brings us all together. Like if it's a meeting without food, it's not a meeting. Like it could be
That's
an
right.
email,
Because we're breaking
right.
bread together.
Yeah.
is he going to hurt his fingers and slam them in that drawer? I'm just
He
wondering.
absolutely is.
Okay.
And that's also creating an environment that makes it non-judgmental. You
Yes.
make it more inviting.
Yes.
And going back to what she said as it relates to not speaking, in a sense, but allowing that space, that quiet time to say, have a glass of wine. And you're not giving your input. And I can guarantee you right now, when you do that, they begin to open up.
Mhm.
They begin to just spill it out because they're like, okay, I can't, it's too quiet for me. I have so much in me that I need to release.
People are very uncomfortable with silence.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you know what? I was thinking about it. This is what's on my heart.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Let me share it.
And you and it's so funny you brought up silence with
There you go.
Mhm.
I think he wants to work. I think that's what it is. He wants.
he wants me to work.
Yeah.
He wants
He wants you to work, but I'm just worried about his little fingers. And I'll stop if if you shut it over there. I just But yeah, it's having that space, holding that empty space for you to fill with whatever you need to fill it.
Right.
yeah.
You know.
And it's such a silence is so powerful and loud when we allow it to just be. We love boy. What you want? You want a strawberry? Here you go.
These are so good.
Thank you.
The tuna's fantastic. Come on. Oh, I love what's on this. This is awesome. I love the words on this.
What does it say?
No, not yet. Closer, almost there. Ready.
That's what the wine needs to go into.
What's funny when you said about don't try to fix it. My bosses, those women I worked for in DC in the 80s, they had gone through Werner Erhardt's training in the 70s. And the one thing they really took from it that stuck with me was he taught them to do this thing called a get it. And so you preface what you're going to say with, this is a get it, which means I don't want a solution. I don't need you to commiserate. I don't need any of that. I just have to get it out.
Yeah.
And so Naomi would call from the road, and be like, okay, this is a get it. I'm in a fucking winter coat and it's 20 degrees in Chicago and god damn it, now I gotta go buy a goddamn winter coat. Now I feel better because I said it.
Yeah.
And all I had to do was get it. I didn't have to try to find her a coat or do any of that. And sometimes that is all you need, right? Just to get it out. And no, I don't want your solutions. I don't want any of that shit. I just had to say it.
Well, and here's the thing. Most of us, when we are trying to fix or help, we are doing it from the right place.
Yeah.
We are absolutely. The thing is that I think if we revisit what it means to do that, there's a part of that it's almost as if you don't believe that the person can fix it themselves. It's almost as if you believe that the person isn't capable. And when you're really coming from, I think, the higher, best place, you're going to let that person do it, figure it out. And you're going to be right there with them.
Right.
But you're not going to be fixing it because that's their journey, that's their process, that's their lesson.
And that's almost like women get so mad at mansplaining, right? Because men do jump to a solution, right?
Right.
Generally.
Right.
Women tend to go to commiseration, sympathy, empathy, whatever. But men are like, oh, I need to fix this. And it's like, no, I don't need you to fix it. I just need you to hear it.
Right.
Right. I was going to piggyback or kind of elaborate a little bit on what you said with regards to having them to find their own solutions. But sometimes you have to be in a setting or in the right space or with the right people to help draw it out of them. That way they own the solution. And without you having to give the input, because we've all lived, we've all learned. And if we don't, how can I say it? If we don't go through it and seek the solutions on our own, we may repeat it.
Right. It's like you come to me and you're my daughter and you come to me and you need help with your algebra.
Right.
Well, if I sit down and do your algebra homework for you,
How would you
you're
learn?
not learning your algebra.
Right.
But I'm doing it because I love you and I want you to do well and I want it. But really, I need to let you figure out your algebra.
Exactly. We were all raised by great people,
Oh yeah.
and they taught us. We didn't listen all the time, and that's why when I wanted to raise my daughter, I wanted to do it a little bit different. I wanted her to make her own mistakes. I wanted her to make them now so that she learns early. And I just think that when we shelter our children or we shelter people and their feelings. We don't allow them to explore and fall down. And they learn that it does hurt when you do fall down. But at least they were able to go through it opposed to us telling them how we went through it.
And the younger you are when you take that first fall, the easier it is to recover. I
Yeah.
feel exactly like you. I
Or that
want
you-
my kids to fall early.
Yes,
Or let me add on to that, or that it's okay to fall.
exactly.
And that
Yes.
it's okay to, you know, and that this is the way that sometimes we learn things is
Right.
by the falling and by the failure. And we remove the shame
Right. And
from we fell down.
by getting back up.
You know, we remove the shame.
But I like
piece of
shame.
that.
You know that triggers
Yeah,
me.
yeah,
and-
Stop it. I'm going to start quoting BB.
Oh God, no, no, anything but that.
I
I'm
was just
leaving,
watching.
I'm leaving church. I'm going to another
And
denomination.
I think overcoming shame is just owning it and saying, okay, I made the mistake.
Yes.
So what? And then telling yourself, okay, what's next? Because we can't stay in shame. We got to get out of it.
Yeah.
Well, and you know what that reminds me of? It's again, here we are in this place where sometimes we need to find the grace we won't give ourselves.
Oh,
Right?
we're much kinder to other people than we are to
Yes. And
ourselves.
so if
Oh,
I've made
very
a
forgiving
mistake,
quickly.
Yes.
if I made a mistake and you all are witness to it and let me be okay, it gives me permission to be okay with
Mhm.
having messed up. Whereas alone, I messed up, I just can go down this deep dark hole of
Mhm.
shame, and it takes me longer to get out, you know, if ever. It
Right.
might just be something I put
You know what's so
aside.
funny about that? The physical example that comes to mind when you fall, the first thing most of us tend to do is look around to see if anybody saw us, right?
Right.
Because we're so embarrassed.
Right.
Instead of seeing if we're okay, well, like we literally look to see did anybody see that.
Oh dear Lord, look at that.
Oh
It's
my
fried
God. That's mean.
chicken. You need to give that camera time.
Okay.
Here we go. Oh, here we go. We got to. This is beautiful,
It is.
And it's not
Fried
Kentucky
chicken
fried.
is a
and
thing of
it's
beauty.
air fried.
So it's
Yes.
good for you.
Let's actually.
We need the smell-o-vision, but I'm just going to tell
I
you,
know.
it smells very good.
Oh, it does. It looks. Oh my God. Here, let's get. What is it called in food? The money shot.
The money shot.
I know where it came from. That one I do know. Unlike the other one that I will not say again. Y'all are cooler than me, and you told me what it meant. Anyway, yummy,
I want
yummy
some of this
fried chicken, and that smell is just wafting. Oh, it's
Mm.
fantastic. That looks amazing.
Well, I'm going to have to try this because I haven't been big on air fryers, but
Oh, I love my air fryer. I actually cook
I
in the air fryer.
returned it. I had one and I
Really?
returned it because I'm like, I can't fit anything in it. You
So-
put all that in one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But no, bigger one, I think. I got a baby one, the Dash, the little one, because it's me.
Yeah, but even if it's just me, like if I'm gonna sit down and eat, because see, that's the thing is I put stuff in the oven, and you know I put everything. Like if I have green beans, I put them in the oven. If I have carrots, I put them in the oven. Everything I put in the oven, and it seems to me that it does kind of the same thing as the air fryer.
Okay, so that is not air fried. That is Publix chicken that was cold that I put in the air fryer.
Okay,
Publix
disclaimer.
does
But
it.
the
Yeah,
chicken I
disclaimer,
made-
Publix.
For you all here,
Yes.
was air fried.
Okay.
And
And that was really good.
fantastic. I still
It
think
was.
about that.
And Publix does a really good job.
And listen, I think Publix has somebody's grandmother's recipe.
Yes.
And they just been good. From everything from the lemonade to the bread
Right,
to the
right, everything.
everything
Because
is
they
good.
are
The
an
pot
old
pies they have
Yes.
pot pies
Yes.
that they put. I
So good.
love them.
Okay, this is
So
our
good.
segment of advertising for today. We get absolutely zero for recommending Publix, but Publix is
Right.
a place where it's a pleasure to shop.
It's a
Shopping is
pleasure.
a
Shopping is
pleasure.
a pleasure.
Shopping is a pleasure.
And you know, I try to remind people because they bellyache about how expensive it is and blah blah blah. Publix is employee owned. It's consistently ranked one of the best companies to work for. Everybody I know that worked there had a good experience, and what I really love is you can work your way up literally from like bag boy in high school. You know, and that's cool. And I'll pay a little bit more. Oh, I read this horribly depressing article about buying American-made things, speaking of which. And this Economic Institute found that if each American household spent, I think it was
$3.33.
$3.33 a year on American-made goods, more than they do now on American-made goods.
Yeah.
That would create 10,000 jobs.
But the way that they figured that out
Mhm.
was kind of bizarre to me because then they had the examples and they had that furniture there.
Mhm.
It was like a coffee table was $1,500. I'm not paying $1,500 for a coffee table.
Right,
Unless it's a piece of art.
right. But
And
if
then,
I
you know,
spend
but it's not
$10,000 a year,
right.
right, because it's hard to do. Averages are hard
Yeah,
because
but-
somebody's
but
going to
if
spend an extra 500
Right.
and somebody's going to spend an extra 10 cents.
I will say that I went out the other day to buy a mattress with Scott, and he was looking for mattresses, and we had the opportunity because I was like, "Is this made in the United States?" Because I would like to buy United States, and he was like, "Well, even better, I've got something that was made in Miami," and I said, "Bring it on." So we ended up buying these this mattress. It was from a company called Biscayne.
Mm-hmm.
Reasonably priced. They
Cool.
seemed like they were very, so again, big zero for the shout out, but that I liked that because A, it's American, and
I
B,
love that.
it's
Super
it's
local.
local. It's this is a Miami deal. And then you got a Tempur-Pedic, which also is American, but that was
Nightmare.
well, it wasn't. It was just expensive.
They're very
very. But I have to say, and again, zero here, unless you want to send me a Tempur-Pedic.
Right, because we do not get affiliate links because we're allergic to
don't.
money.
Well,
But
we are not allergic. She may be allergic to money. Let me disclaimer.
not allergic,
Wait a second.
Dawn, not
Sarah
allergic.
is not. Dawn is allergic to
Not
money,
allergic.
which is funny because she's the one that has the most money.
So if anything.
Don't be a martyr, Dawn. Hand it
Oh,
over. But anyway, so the I will say, I have to say, I've had a Tempur-Pedic mattress for it's at least 15 years old.
Wow.
It is at least, and I need to replace it, right? So I'm sitting there watching Scott, who also has also has a very old Tempur-Pedic mattress, and but he's replacing his. I can't afford that right now. So he replaced his, and then I went home and I flipped mine around, and it worked.
There
which
you
is
go.
one of the reasons.
I do hear they're wonderful, although I've never had
I
them.
love my Tempur-Pedic beyond. Like when I do my Thankful Thursday posts in the group,
Yes.
I always want to put my bed.
Ah.
Like every single time, and I just don't do it because it's like, okay,
Right,
woman,
enough
how
of the bed.
how grateful are you for your damn bed? But I am, but it's gotten the last couple of months so that I can kind of feel a little sag, and I find myself in the middle of the night going towards the middle of my bed.
Yeah.
So what I did, since I can't buy a new one, is I went and I rotated it, and so last night I slept much better. So maybe I can get another year or two out of my old Tempur-Pedic. But yes, I love my Tempur-Pedic. And it is where you spend like half of your life. So if you can do it, and I think more power to you.
Right.
But anyway.
It's funny because for the first time in my life, right, because you get to this age, I'm faced with the prospect that unless the bags really take off, which I hope they do, but I'm not counting on it. Because
And you're allergic to money, so it doesn't matter anyway.
I
Go
am.
ahead.
But I am in that position where the money I have now is all the money I'm ever going to have. And because that's what happens at this stage in your life, mostly. And that's a very strange place to be and a really scary place to be. And I know because I've talked to my financial advisor, and he's like, you keep going at this rate. And I said, I know, I'll be living with my daughter. So I gave myself that first year or two after Dean to just go a little crazy, and not totally crazy. But I am now at the point where like I have to do something different. And I really wrestle with that because I don't feel like I'm super profligate, like I'm not taking expensive vacations. I'm not, you know what I mean? But I gotta really be careful because the worst thing in the world would be to know that I had some money and frittered it away.
It's not
Because
the
I'll
worst
be at
thing,
an age where I can't do anything about it. And that would be terrible.
Okay, well, hold me up on this one. Send me some energy because I'm just going to declare right here. Our podcast is going to make you tons of money.
That's
Absolutely.
it. That's it. What was I thinking?
There you go.
What was I thinking?
I know, you weren't. But I'm here.
Really?
That's why I'm here. That's why we're
Right.
here, right?
That's why we're
Right. That's why we all complete
You know,
each other.
I mean, think about it. We had this idea, and then now it's being done by someone else who
Ava
obviously
DuVernay.
copied us. Obviously copied us.
Obviously.
And took the idea, big time. But you never know what's going to work or what's not. And there's no one of the things I think that we have to learn about life is there's no real certainty. You know that. I know that.
Oh.
You know that. The only thing certain is uncertainty. Well, that and death and taxes, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
We
but
can do without the taxes.
we can do without it, but it
We can
won't
do it out
without
both.
us.
They're paying taxes.
Right. Well, I don't know.
I don't know if I would
Nice
wanna
reward
live
in the
forever.
sky.
Yeah, like
it might be good if you believe in that sort of thing. Or,
yeah.
Yeah, would we want to live forever? I don't think so.
I don't know.
I think the misery of seeing everybody leave around you, and then now there's a whole other generation and you're still here.
Right, if it was only you, oh no, that would be terrible.
It's like everything is new. Like, no, I want to go where those people
Yes.
were.
And you see that with people, right? Once all their friends die and
They
their
wanna
family,
go
they
too.
want to go too because
Has
yeah.
anybody heard the song "If We Were Vampires" by Jason Isbell?
You let me hear it. You can send
So
it to
in
me.
there, isn't that a nice song? So in there, he says maybe it's a good thing that our time on the earth is limited because I can give you. I can't remember how he wrote it. Let me see. I want to quote it because it's just great. I mean, it's sad when someone we love dies because we miss them. Hopefully, it's not sad for them. Hopefully, it's a good thing for them.
It's funny you say that because when my father died when I was 20, it struck me like in that moment that grief, in that case, is primarily not selfish isn't the right word, although that's the word I've always used. It's a self-centered emotion. Because he lived a good life, he went out on his terms, it was actually ideal, I would have expected nothing less from my father. But my grief was for me.
And that's
to be
okay.
here without him.
But that's okay.
Oh no, it's
And that's
really
why,
okay.
that's why they say
It was
it's
just-
selfish. too.
Yes, but
But
it was
it's
just something I
okay.
observed. Wow, what I'm grieving for myself, not for him.
But the way I got past, death, noticing, loved ones passing, is the simple fact that they would never get better on this side.
Mm.
So if we're keeping them here because of our own selfishness,
Yeah, no.
then they're enduring the pain, the suffer, and nobody can fix it.
Right. People do that with animals all the time.
Right, trying to
You know.
prolong them here, and it's like now they become a burden
Yes.
because now you got to care for them when your life has to continue.
And they probably would prefer like this. So that was my dad, maybe a week before he died. In hindsight, right, recognized that he was having heart issues and chose to do nothing about it. And I think he was done.
Yeah.
65 years old. He couldn't enjoy his life the way he always had. Food didn't taste the same because he'd had surgery. He couldn't really work the way he used to, and he loved working. There were just all these things that he couldn't do anymore that gave him so much pleasure.
Wow.
And so he was one of the lucky few who was faced with I can go to the doctor and have this taken care of and live like more of an invalid, or I can just go now
Right.
and let things happen as they're going to happen. And when I got a little, space from it and head clarity, I realized that is an amazingly lucky thing to have happened to you. When we
To
all
be at
like
peace with
that.
it. Because
Yeah.
Right, to say, get that little tap on the shoulder like, dude, you can either do something about this or not. And he had that choice, and that's so rare to have that kind of choice at that stage of your life.
Yeah. My
You know.
great grandmother lived to be 106 years old.
Wow.
And she had a garden, like an acre and a half that she would garden and grow all her vegetables, everything. But this woman would literally be in the garden 6 days a week.
Wow.
Rain
Yeah, it didn't matter.
did not matter. The rain actually meant it was a good time to get out there because now you don't have to water. Then you
Right.
just got to get the hoe and move it to where you needed to go. And I noticed that when they took her out of the garden, her health declined
Oh, interesting.
Wow.
Yeah.
drastically.
Right? That would make sense.
When she got out of the garden, she had she had dementia, and when they took her out of the garden, it was like all life or desire
Yes.
to live
Yes.
left. And I can remember going walking. I was living with my aunt at the time, and she was there, confined to a bed because she couldn't move. And she would have these. What are they called? When they're in and out of their lucidness. She was not lucid, so she would think I was one of her dead children or dead brothers.
Goodness.
When I walked out the door, that's what she said. Like she thought I was one of her dead sisters. So, but when I came back from walking, I mean, I had so much on my mind. I could remember walking, and when I got back in the house, and I came back, and I walked by the bed, and she grabbed my arm. And at this time, I'm still thinking she's good because she does it. And she's like, and I sat next to the bed, and she was like, "There is nothing that you're thinking about that should take the frown off your face, take the smile off your face." And
I love that.
she's like, "It's nothing." She says, "Whatever it is, it's gonna be okay." And it was like that quick. She was back thinking I was somebody else.
Right. Wow.
But it was so like, oh my gosh, I noticed how, it was her life in the garden. It was us holding on to her when she was confined to that bed those last few years. She had when she got out of that garden, she was done.
She was done and ready to go.
She was done. It was us holding on to her because she really she wasn't even in her right mind.
Yeah.
And this is this woman, tough, petite, small, but would just she was just so strong. And her daughter, her name was Lily, and my grandmother's name is Lily. And those two would argue all the time. I never forget, I gave her a ride to the store one day, my great grandmother, and she had to go to the liquor store. She'd make these tonics for remedies, gin tonic and different things. And she was like, "I need to go to the liquor store." We pulled up to the liquor store, and she was getting out, and she turned back and looked at me. She's like, "You think I need my ID?" I said, "Now I heard of them asking if you look too young, but I ain't never heard of them." And that was her. Like her personality was
just fun,
life. I'm here. I'm living. She knew things
great
without
way to
me
live.
having to tell her.
Yeah.
She just knew it was stuff, and I miss her. But I know because she can't be in that garden, she had no reason else to be here. That was her. That was what she loved to do. She would feed hundreds of people every year with the holidays. We would have outside because she had a lot of land, and we would have like those long tables. We would have like 7 tables put together of food that people from everywhere would just come and grab food. And this woman was just like she was such a strong person for our family. So I know when she passed away, it hurt, but I knew it wasn't her. She had already left.
She was gone.
She was gone. She was gone, and it was so much. It was hard. Now, when my grandfather passed away, it was sudden, and I had just talked to him the day before. The night before, I stuck on the phone with him, and then the next morning, I got a call that he passed away. That was just devastating to me because I couldn't. I was young. I couldn't grasp the concept of him telling me to, go to school, just finish school. I'm gonna buy you a car. All of it. We talking about all of this, and then the next morning, it was like I felt like he betrayed me. Like, I felt like you left me, and I was very resentful of my father at that point because, my grandfather was the one who was stepping up because my father wasn't there. So now I can't be mad at him. He's gone. So all this, I was took it out on my father at this point. But it's grief is one of those things that I think when we go through it, it's a never ending cycle. It's a wound that never closes because you lose someone else, and it's not like a new wound. Like, okay, it's somebody else, or we can choose the level of pain we want to have when this happened, but it just keeps reopening. And my grandfather was the first time I experienced death like that changed me, that made me look at people different, like made me look at life different. Like, how can I could be on the phone with you one night and we talking about, all this stuff, and then you just up and die. Like, it was, for me, it was a choice. Like, you chose this. You just up and died. Like, but I couldn't grasp that concept of if he could choose, he wouldn't have chose that. Like, I didn't get that before. And I don't know. I don't know how else I don't know how else to process it. But I know for a long time I could not get past that. Like, he was the person who showed me death and made me think that it was a choice. Not like suicide, but like this was a choice. You chose this. Because to me, I was a child at that point. Like, I had just had a conversation with you the day before. And then they're kind of like, did you not know? Like, did you not feel something? Did not, like, he didn't have that week or so, that moment to make amends with it. He was on his way to go harvest. He was a farmer, so he was going to South Carolina to harvest the crop for that year. He was getting ready. He was leaving. He had a heart attack in the truck while he was getting ready to pull out. So it was for me like, what? I like that was a hard one for me, and it still is. I've lost a lot of people, but that one I just could not see my way past that. Like, I still have moments where I'm like, why? How? Like, I didn't get it.
I'm sorry, was that your grandpa?
It's my grandfather.
I think sometimes we're just never gonna know. I think,
Well,
and
we're never gonna be ready.
it
Tell
may
me
be
about
that
it.
we do pick when we die.
Mhm.
It may very well be that our souls decide this is the end for us. But it's not about hurting you.
Mm-hmm.
It's about what our souls need to do, and it's part of your journey,
Mm-hmm.
how you process what you take from it and what you learn.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean,
That was really tough for me, and
yeah.
I never I had so much hurt with my grandfather, because I was really close. Like, we were really, really close.
How old were you?
When he passed away, I was 14 when he passed away. And like, he was my everything, because my father wasn't around, so he stepped up and he made sure everything. So even when I'll never forget it, I caught myself having a boyfriend, and the guy called the house, and my grandfather was sitting next to the phone. This is what house phones were in. We don't have house phones. And he picked up the phone, and all I heard my grandfather was saying hello. And the guy must have said, "It's Sarah." He was like, "Who?" He's like, "It's Sarah." And the guy said, "Who is this?" My grandfather was like, "Who is this?" The guy said his name. He was like, "No, you ain't calling here for her and hung up the phone."
No.
Oh, that's awesome.
But after that, you would think that it'd be a conversation with me. He said nothing. He just went back and watching TV. I could do no wrong. Everybody else was wrong to him. Like, he was not. I got in a fight at school one day. They had to call him to come pick me up. Well, they didn't call him. They called the house, and he just so happened to be there. My grandmother was there. So he came and picked me up, and on the way home, he was like, "Listen, go in there, clean up the kitchen, put this stuff out, because you're already going to be in trouble, but already just go ahead and do some stuff." So, and he was like he was my get out of jail card every time. Like
Your back.
he had my back. Like it was nothing I could do that he wouldn't be there and say, okay, I got you. I'm gonna make sure you good.
And that's so important when you grow up
Yeah.
to know that you had that. And you think about so many kids who don't have that and how hard it is for them.
Yeah.
You know, to have
It is. I even with me knowing I lost him at 14 years old, I felt like
you're lucky.
like that. I have a part in a poem that says I haven't been a whole person since I've seen a whole person placed in a hole. And to me, he was everything.
Mm-hmm.
He was everything. I at that point, I didn't care. My dad was where he was at. My mom and I didn't have the best relationship. So to me, my grandfather was everything that I wanted in my parents. He was that. And at that point I felt like you left me here. You left me here to deal with these people.
How could you?
Like with your son and my mom, like you left me here, and I was angry for a very long time. I was angry at him, and I'm sitting here and I'm like, I feel like I'm about to cry because I don't even think I ever really processed how much that really hurt me, because ever since then it was like I had a tough relationship with my father. I never forgave him for just not being there for his father. Like I just never forgave him for that. That's crazy. But I think now I am very much thankful for the lessons he taught me. But I don't think I don't think it's something that I'll get over. I don't know. I don't think it's something I'll get over.
It's funny because we went to my father's wake, and this friend of mine that I grew up with looked at me and he said, "You know what? You know what look he's got on his face? He's got Helen was my mother's name, right? He's got that Helen, I just smoked another cigarette and there's not a damn thing you can do about it look on his face." And
Yeah,
it was
I
so
remember you
funny,
saying
man, because like in that moment, like I realized like how lucky I was to have had him, if only for 20 years. And how glad I was for him that he got to go like that.
Right.
You know, it's just it's always hard, right, to lose somebody. But I think I told you guys I was in Publix. Okay, Publix again, Publix.
Publix is the place.
At least a year after Jean died, and I ran into somebody that I know but not well. Used to be closer and just kind of lived apart. And she had no idea that he had died, let alone what happened. So there I am in Publix explaining to this woman, no, he took his own life. You know, and I'm thinking, you're going to fall, like, right, the aisle of Publix is not a place to have this conversation. This is really hard. And then to try to
Well,
keep
did she
together
ask
after.
you?
She was like, well, yeah. And you know what? It's funny. I've had this conversation with Sharonda, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
I know she thinks it's rude when people ask.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's rude when somebody asks how someone relatively young passed away, because it's unusual. Like if you tell me that your 90-year-old grandmother
Not
died,
today, Dawn.
I'm probably
It's
not.
not unusual for young people to die.
It is not unusual,
It is
but it's
not.
not. It's very different from if you say my 90-year-old grandmother died, because I'm going to presume she was 90. She
Right.
lived a good long
I
life.
think the interest
Right.
of how someone dies, what does that bit of information do?
I think it's just normal human nature.
It is. It's very. I
You
think
know.
it's very normal. I don't know if it's
Anyway,
correct. It
so
depends on the context.
I told her what happened, and she said, well, you know what? His time, this time, on Earth here was done.
Mhm.
And I'm glad she asked. I'm glad I told her. I'm glad I ran into her,
Mhm.
because it gave me a different way to look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, which was great. But no, I don't find it unpleasant for people to ask, because I do think it's normal when somebody who you can presume died of old age by old age.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's weird to ask if they're younger.
Right.
You know, but that's me.
Well, I'm going to quote another one of your favorites.
Oh God, no!
Before I say it,
please.
Dawn, I like your ring.
Thank you. I got it for like, I was trying to remember this one. I just got it recently. Like $8 somewhere, and I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, it's a mid-century modern dinner plate on my finger. Thank you.
So you were gonna say,
Go ahead, sorry.
No, it's
Brene,
somebody else.
is it
No,
Brene
no,
Brown?
this,
God,
is,
no.
this is Cheryl Strayed. And
Oh.
I shared that essay with her, and she totally hated it. But so Cheryl Strayed used to do, or she still does. It's called Dear Sugar, and
Yes.
you write in and you
The advice column.
and you ask for advice. And this man wrote in about his son, and he's like, I am mad, and I can't get past. I'm mad that I can't, that I don't get to see him, that he doesn't grow up, that he's not gonna have kids, that, he makes a list of all the stuff. And I don't even know, I'm only quoting it because it reminded me there's nothing really in there that helps this other than, when you said his time here was done, she wrote, you can't change that. You can love everything he was, but from here on, what you can do is, hold your memories, or I don't remember if it was I thought it was beautifully written. And I would suggest you read it despite her nausea over it. But I happen to think that Cheryl Strayed is a beautiful writer and has some really lovely contributions. And she's not, she wants you to own your shit, but at the same time, she's deeply compassionate and also very wise. So that's why I like her. I don't know why Dawn dislikes her so much, but anyway, it's
I'm gonna look in. I'm gonna read it.
I'll send you
I
the
said I
link.
was gonna read some of Brene Brown stuff so that I'm able to chime in on this little feud here. Because every time it comes up, it's funny to me, but I'm curious. I'm curious to know why you don't like
Yes.
Brene Brown.
I don't get it.
Don't.
The woman says, to belong, you have to be yourself. It's not about changing who you are. It's being who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And the opposite of belonging is, what is it? The opposite of belonging is fitting in.
Mm-hmm.
Which is great, because it's true. Because if you're fitting in, you're making yourself into something you're not. Here it is. Here's the letter, and I'll send it to you. But it's
I would naturally take exception to that because oftentimes I feel like I belong precisely because I fit in with these people. I feel at home.
Fit in with who?
Whoever it might be.
Mm-hmm.
I go somewhere and I meet people, I'm like, oh my God, these are my people.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like
But
I
it's
fit
not
in.
your people, it's your tribe.
My tribe or
It's
whatever.
your tribe. And your tribe gets you like nobody else. Your tribe gets you better than your family.
Yes.
Your
Because
tribe
you hit them
gets
or
you.
found them or whatever.
Yes, there is a, as I'm finding my members of my tribe, there is almost like an unspoken understanding that you have with your tribe that
Right.
like, okay, we are going to hold each other accountable. We, like my tribe, it's like I have this accountability in my tribe is a core value.
Mm-hmm.
that's me.
It's like it does not allow you to pity yourself for whatever it is. Like my tribe seems to get that, but it also extends grace for you not being in a space to be able to hold yourself accountable. Like, okay, you're not there. I'm gonna give you space to do that. I'm gonna give you grace because I haven't always been.
Right. Yeah.
But your tribe, it's like the people in my tribe tend to they tend to remind you that you don't have as much time as you think you do. So are you going to dwell on this, or are you going to move towards finding your peace and your joy in this life? Because regardless of what we all believe, you don't know for sure there's something after.
Right.
You don't know. That you cannot.
What makes me feel better than think there is.
It does.
And
Right,
that
but
alone is a reason enough to go
But I
for
think
it.
what's Eric is, what I'm hearing is, because we don't know for sure, don't spend the life you know you have.
Mhm.
Just
Dwelling on it.
dwelling and saying, well, this is sucks, but the next life's gonna be better because you're not
You're
sure.
not-
You
Is
don't
that-
live in
But is that what I'm
yeah.
hearing?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
we don't know. I think so much of us, and so many of us, are in a rush to get to our destination that we're not enjoying the moments. We're not enjoying the journey. We're not enjoying just being able to sit amongst friends on a Wednesday in the middle
And
of
just
the
put it
day
all aside
and
and just-
eat
Yes.
food and
Well,
we're not.
I'm terrible
I
at that,
think
by the
it's-
way,
I
so
think
thank
that-
you for that reminder.
I think it was The Alchemist. Do you also hate Paulo
I
Coelho?
couldn't get through it.
Okay,
I couldn't get through it.
okay.
Charlotte
so
loves it.
there's
Talk to my daughter. I'm
there's
sending
a-
her next.
Okay, so but here's note
There's
to,
no
note
other-
to us. If we
Right.
want to bring her on board with the conversation, we need to talk
Right.
John Stanford, Patricia Cornwell,
Right. Please, can we
you know,
read for
Sue
the love,
Grafton.
for the love of God,
those
can we
things.
just read serial
Yeah.
killer novels?
That's it. No, okay, so there is a very this is the part that stayed with me, and I think it's that book, if not it's another of his books, but so there's this young boy goes to be an apprentice, I think, at this huge castle mansion something. And so he talks to his mentor, or whoever this person is, the guy, the advisor, the spiritual, whatever. And he says, okay, so your first task is you've got to take this spoon full of oil and you need to walk all the way through the castle and come back and don't spill a drop. So the boy goes and he carries this spoon through the castle, through the mansion, whatever, very, very carefully. He gets back and he looks at and he says, I did it. You know, I got here, I didn't spill any of it. And so the master says, great, what did you think of the room with the tapestries? He says, what? I didn't see. Well, what did you think of the pieces of art in the blue room?
Oh, I get it. She's
I
going,
didn't
she's
see
going
it.
at.
He said, well, here's the thing. You got to carry that spoon. And of course, this is not how he says it, but you got to carry that spoon with the oil and you still got to look around
Mm-hmm.
and you still got to enjoy the things that you're doing.
Mhm.
You've got to take it all in while
Mhm.
still on task.
Right.
And I think that's the thing. We can't be, I don't think, well, I'm no one to say, but you can't be, in my world, just, you know, let's look around at the tapestry and not have any sort of purpose. You have to have a balance of the purpose and the enjoyment. And but when it comes time, like you were saying, Latoya, to sit around with your friends,
Mm-hmm.
you sit around with your friends and you're present there. And you're not worrying about I should be carrying the damn spoon. You were fully present in that moment and in what you're doing.
And how much harder? I think that's, depending on who you are, human nature to not be able to let go of the spoon for a little while, right? Or however you want to put it. But what it also makes me think of is how much harder has the internet and cell phones made it for
Oh.
us to just be in the moment.
Do you
And it's
remember
problem.
going to the doctor's office and you get to the doctor's office and you have a magazine or
Yes.
you got a crossword puzzle
Yes.
or something and you sit there and that's it, and you still get mad if you get there and you're waiting longer than 10 to 15
Right.
minutes. But now doctors know they can have you there for 30 minutes because you're doing this
Oh,
on
that's
your
so
phone
interesting. I never thought about
and
it
you're
that way.
entertained.
Or you're working,
you're
or you're doing
working,
what, right?
you're on what is
That's really
you're
interesting.
playing
Social
Candy
media.
Crush, whatever. You are you're occupied to where you're not paying attention of how much time you're sitting waiting
You know what's
for
funny?
them to call you.
One of the things I always try to do when I'm at the doctor is read the magazines that are there because they tend to be magazines I would not pick up on my own.
Right.
So I try to do that. And one of the
Send me
sad
with some marula.
things about COVID is that those
So it's
magazines.
closed.
Jesus Christ.
What
Don't
is about
take me
COVID is that
anywhere.
you don't realize that you didn't take the damn top
Oh my God.
Thank you. Oh my goodness.
I am very sad.
Must be good in coffee.
Yes.
I was thinking that too. Warm.
Oh, you know what? I gotta see if it has caffeine because stupidly I decided like a year ago I was gonna treat myself to a little Kahlua and decaf every night, right? I could not freaking sleep even more than I normally fight bedtime. And then I'm like, oh, you idiot, Kahlua has caffeine in it. So I could not figure out what the problem was. I might, but anyway, it makes me sad that those magazines are gone. That's like another loss to COVID. That
Yeah.
probably is never coming back.
Right.
Because now people really realize the ick factor of that. You're in a doctor's office, so people are sick, and you're all picking up the same paper. But I love that when Erica went into the hospital.
Can I point out that we survived?
Yeah, no kidding.
Thank you.
No kidding. I know. Tell me about it. But I feel like, Abby, they're not going to bring it back because they know that people are freaked out about it. Abby, Sarah,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Are there cups somewhere? Did I miss them? Or I'll just take a glass. I don't care.
No.
But I just want- when Erica went into the hospital, I got her like the trashiest, not the trashiest, but the close to trashiest, like the gossipy magazines, like not the Star and the Inquirer, like People and Us Weekly and all that stuff. Thank you. Because I said when you're lying in a hospital, these are the magazines you should be reading because they're just fun and light and like you don't have to really concentrate. You know, and I said, just read the magazine, stay off the phone, don't dwell on anything if you can help it, you know, and just read this easy reading stuff.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we need that. I also think that the phones have made it so much harder for us to, we used to, like it or not, kind of socialize with the strangers around us in line somewhere or in a waiting
still
room
do.
or whatever. Yeah, but it's harder because other people are engaged in their phones or looking down or, you know, and so they don't want to do, and then they get like annoyed. You're like, hi, how are you? Or, you know, can you believe we waited so long? You know, and it's frustrating because I think, and I think that's one of the reasons that we go at each other like we do on social media because we don't. Which is what's good about this too, is we're gonna look at each other, right? We're gonna be in the same space. I was thinking when I was outside, wouldn't it be cool to like try to engage other people that we know or don't know or promote this on YouTube or Facebook or whatever to do what we're doing somewhere, like in your own city or country or whatever, and say, you know, you guys go find somebody you don't know well that doesn't look anything like you. And have coffee with them or lunch or something. Do what we're doing and tell us how it goes. Like I think this is part of how we're gonna just.
It's
get
like it's
better.
opening up dialogue, and I think
Yes.
you just have to. I guess we just have to find a way of propping it up
Yes.
so that it comes off clear. And I like the sudden conversations because you pull out, you know,
Yeah, I
the
love
the creative mind to respond because it's not staged. Like say for example, if you're giving me a topic to talk about, then in my mind you're talking to me, but I'm trying to create the right things to say. But if you just come off the bat and just ask me a question, I'm gonna give it to you real.
Well, so yeah, we try to pick a topic, partly because we want to tell people as we're promoting it, you know, if you're interested in this topic, we're going to be talking about it. We are absolutely terrible at staying on that topic. We might talk about it for 10 minutes, but that's what
But
I
we
love about what we
circulate
do is how we digress and go into like a million different things.
Like life.
Yes, like life. Yes. Life,
You know, I
right.
was thinking as we were talking about this, you know, if you really think about it, like I came into this and Sarah and Dawn knew each other, but I didn't know Sarah. And if you look on the outside, Sarah and I are like really, really different people.
Right.
But I think the challenge would be to actually find somebody you couldn't find something in common with, because the more I talk with Sarah, the more aligned I feel with the things that she feels, and there's things that maybe not. but I think that the things that are not are more because of where she is in her life. Like she's raising a young kid. My daughter's grown. Like that sort of thing.
Not because
More
you're a
than-
different color
Not,
or a different.
oh no, that absolutely
right,
not.
Right.
But I mean,
Yes.
even ideas, separate that. But even ideas, like, you know, she was talking about, and I hate talking while she's not here,
Mhm.
because I'm not talking bad, obviously.
Right.
But she was talking about, you know, holding people accountable and thing. And I'm kind of in a place right now where I don't know. I know that I don't know. So I don't know that it's my place to do anything really except be beside someone.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like going back to what you were
From a
talking about the
support
EST.
standpoint?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, no, but from an idea standpoint, like, going back to what you were talking about the EST, well, you know, I went through
Yes.
Landmark.
Yes.
And one of the things that stuck with me is there's no right or wrong, and that's a huge topic, and it's really deep. But and it might be something worth like
That
looking
would be
into
interesting, yeah.
to go into a conversation because it's very, very heavy.
Mhm.
I mean, to stand and say there's no right or wrong, it's a heavy thing. But even like, so I was listening to it again. It's not John Sanford. It's not Patricia Cornwell, but
Fine.
David Michael Douglas, I think is his name, and he was supposedly received these books from, like, it's called Conversations with God.
Mm.
So he
Mhm,
was
mhm.
pissed and he wrote down, and why am I in this
Mhm.
place in my life and whatever. But one of the things he
Oh,
talks
goodness.
about,
That sounds fascinating.
but one of the things
Yeah,
that he
we've
talks
almost
about,
asked that question.
Oh, yes.
I listen to this a lot. There's a lot of the books, and when I walk in the morning, I'll usually pick something. If it's not Brene Brown, it's no, I will pick something. And this is one of the things, or this is something that I'll listen to when I'm trying to fall asleep.
Mhm.
It's one of those things I can put on, and it's really interesting because I listen to it, and in the not audio, he has melded, like, all of a sudden God's voice, because God answers him. So
Mm.
God's voice will be a man, and then all of a sudden it turns into a woman's voice, and it's, you know, but they have a discussion about right or wrong, and that it's not really
As
But
black and white as we can.
really as black and white as you think.
But how significant is that to have listen to a perspective from the opposite race, and we're not just being selective to only a female
Yes.
commentary?
Yes.
Because just listening from different perspective, it opens it out for you to receive it, because you may receive half of what the female says, and that other end to tie it all together may come from the male. And I just think we have to open up our
I so agree.
Well,
opportunities of who and what we listen to in order to draw a conclusion to our own
I
situations.
totally agree.
Right, absolutely. Well, I think that what they were trying to do with putting both voices is say, you know, God doesn't have a sex, God is. You know,
Mhm.
God is, but they have to have some sort of voice come out, so
Right.
they have two voices, and I do believe they're both white people, but in all goodness, if you think, and in all honesty, if you think about, when I think about the voice of God, I think of Morgan Freeman. You know, I'm seriously, right?
Yes.
Because he did the voice of God in all those
Well, and he
movies.
just has
and
that
he
voice
just has
of
that
God.
voice. I mean, but in the book, it's not Morgan Freeman.
Right.
It's like it
Like,
sound,
do
he
you remember
sounds
that
like
show, Joan of Arc?
George Bush. What was his name? Not what was the comedian with the cigar?
George Burns.
Burns. Right.
Do you remember that TV show, Joan of Arcadia? Oh my gosh, I love that show. She was probably 12 or so when it aired. It was this young girl, and I can't remember if she had been in an accident or something. But something had happened to her, or maybe she was born this way. And God would present himself to her in everyday people. One episode, he was her high school football coach. In another episode, he was the homeless guy down the street. But the voice of God would come from this different. It was a fascinating show. It was a great premise.
Wow.
And, you know, I was sad that it didn't last longer, because it was so interesting that she would be like at a bus stop, and the old woman next to her would say something, and she would realize it was God talking to her through this old woman.
Right.
Anyway, it was just.
Why is your computer beeping?
It's not. It's her smoke alarm.
Oh.
She needs batteries. Chirping.
Oh,
Um,
that was a nice.
I want to say
So-
something right after you're done. Oh my God, this is
so
that is
it was
perfect.
a great premise for a show, and it was a great show to watch with kids.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, because God really, and they did that. What was that? Who did that song? What if God were one of us?
Mhm.
That was like the opening song in the credits. But yeah, it's so
Right.
true.
Well, here's what I want to say to that. And that it is so important that we understand or connect with our individual discernments.
Yes.
Because I think no matter what we go through, God is still in the midst or in the situation, and he shows up
So
at the
Agreed.
right time. And again, I'm so happy that you made mention that this person found God in each individual situation. And I believe, I don't think you mentioned it, but that God in those people showed up at the time she needed it.
yes.
And I think that's what happened to us daily. We could be going through something,
Right.
and a person show up and say exactly what we needed, and that was God speaking
It's
to us,
so
because
crazy.
he puts people in our life, in our path, in order to give us the message that we need to hear. And it's like, had you use your discernment
Right.
or open your mind to receive that,
Mhm.
you got your answer a long time ago.
I'm gonna, because I was about to say what I wanted to say about that is that it depends on your filter. Because if you have to be like, that's the whole saying, when the student's ready, the teacher appears. You may be getting that message
Mhm.
100 times a day, but
And
until
ignoring
you're ready for it,
Mhm.
until you open up your perception so that it can come in,
Right.
it doesn't matter.
Right.
You know, it just doesn't matter.
Well, and I told you about that bar that I got, right? Did I say that story?
The what?
The bar, the cabinet. Oh my God. So there was this vintage. I want to say it's Century, but it's the other mid-century manufacturer that starts with C. I can never remember it. Anyway, so I love like vintage stuff, and for years there was this beautiful glass, and what I liked about it was the sides were glass, the top is glass, the shelves are glass, so the light goes all the way through it, which is hard to find. Usually the sides are solid, but I love this freaking cabinet. And it was at the Salvation Army at Copens and Dixie. And they like to keep a lot of that stuff for their display. And so every week we're in there, right? We said, no, won't sell it, won't, you know. And I had actually taken a picture, found the manufacturer, written to them. They sent me the name of the line. It was Tawny or something like, some word like that. I forget, I have it. Anyway, so I could look for it online and see if I could find one, right? And it's just super cool. I love that friggin' thing. And they would not sell it. So my husband and I used to even, like, we had looked it up together, and because we both really liked it. So in July, I was at the doctor for my checkup in Boca on Dixie, right near the Habitat for Humanity that's in Dixie. It's like 2 blocks away. I came out of the doctor, and what I used to do was I would call my husband to tell him how the checkup went. And I literally went to call him. And I realized that I can't because he's not here anymore. And I was just so sad. And I thought, I'm going to go in that Habitat and just give myself a little thrift therapy.
Oh, don't you love thrift?
Oh my God, I
therapy?
love it.
Yeah.
I love what I find.
Yeah.
And let me tell you something, when you're doing that, don't bring anybody with
No,
you that's
don't.
in a hurry.
No, oh no. I
Okay.
need time.
Yes.
So I walk in that Habitat and that fucking cabinet is sitting there.
Wow.
The one that was in the Salvation Army. Like it was crazy. So I asked her how much it was, and it's big. It's like 4 feet by what, I mean, it's beautiful. It was like $90. And they have a mover that they use who can bring it to my house. Because I was going to try and put it in my car. And then I'm like, no, because you're going to hurt your hip again. So anyway, so he delivers it, right? 2 days later, I'm at the Salvation Army, which is where I always saw this cabinet with my mother-in-law because we go every Wednesday. And that cabinet's gone. And it had been there for 4 years.
Wow.
And I asked everybody in the store what happened because it was right in the front across from the registers. No idea. It's just gone. Like, it was crazy.
Wow.
It was literally as if like Jean picked it up from the Salvation Army and put it in the Habitat because I so desperately needed it at that moment. Isn't that nuts? It was crazy. I could not believe it.
Mm.
And sometimes you really do just get what you need.
Right.
You know?
But you have to
Oh.
be able to receive it.
And then
You do.
the flip side of that is seizing the opportunity before it's gone.
Yes.
Because what's here today is not going to be there tomorrow.
Oh my goodness.
Unless you're lucky. And we've had our lucky moments. However, there are times where you have to act on certain things.
Well,
Absolutely.
things and people.
Yes.
And I think
We talked about
That's-
acting on it.
really
Talk what?
we did.
About acting on an opportunity. It went back to what you were telling me earlier about relationship, acting on opportunity.
Oh yeah. Well.
So there it is. There's my beloved cabinet,
Yeah.
and it fits all my liquor.
Oh, yeah,
I'm gonna
I
get rid of
saw
two
it.
other ones.
I
But
love
it's
that.
just- thank you. It's just beautiful.
And if you ever want change, there is this this little DIY. Is that the right acronym? DIY.
Do it yourself.
Oh, DIY. Let me check. Okay, and they show you how to what is the word for it? But they show you how to refurbish it and
Yes.
make it to something new if you get tired of it.
I want to learn how to
Which is
do
what
that.
I was gonna do. With
I
this
like
table.
that.
I want to
But
learn
I like
how to
turning-
do that.
I like changing things
refurbish
Oh,
around.
I
stuff.
love doing
Well,
that.
She
It's
changed my
favorite thing
house
to do.
around, you guys. So I came back. And
I was supposed to do the pictures on the wall too, but I couldn't find a hammer, and I don't want to argue about it. I just want to do it. I don't want to ask for permission because I told her change is good. You know how it puts you in a mindset
Well,
or
it
a
moves
disposition
your
And I find
to
doing
walk
this,
in every
Yes,
day, open
yes.
the freaking window, let some
Yes,
light in.
yes. And I find this so therapeutic, DIY stuff, doing things, refurbishing, fixing, changing. Oh,
It
so
makes
therapeutic.
It's a whole
Does
different
anybody
perspective
find
when
it
you walk in.
therapeutic to help people organize their cabinets?
Open that
Because
window.
I need to.
Oh, I
organize.
would love to come do that.
You would?
I would.
Oh my
I
god!
live for this shit.
Oh my god!
And then guess what?
Oh my god!
It'll be an immediate new business because all she have to do is do the before and after,
I
and then
love to do
boom.
that.
Now, such and
I
such,
don't.
come to my house and do it for me.
There
Which
you
is
go.
strange because you know why? Why I find that strange? Because you are like me, and this the reason I hate my cabinets is because I have an issue throwing things away.
I have to take a picture. I was actually so excited with myself yesterday, and I couldn't think of anybody to send a picture to, and I should have thought of you. I completely decluttered my kitchen. My cabinets are, my countertops are almost bare, and it's amazing.
Well, I know, but I
I
have
love it.
like. Listen, I will save the bottom of something. I'll even save empty bottles.
Oh, no, I don't do
I'm
that.
terrible.
No, I will
I
be
am
happy to do that.
terrible.
I've actually done this for people. I love to do this.
Oh, just give me a time.
I will. I will.
wanna
Let's
add
do
Anytime you
this.
can do it.
Let's look at our
I need
calendars
to know.
right now.
I need to know how your baby's doing. I've followed on Facebook a little and I saw the pictures. He's gorgeous.
Oh, thank
How
you.
is he doing?
He's good.
What is his name?
Everett
Everett.
Gene.
Gene.
How do you ever go with the
That's
gene?
nice.
Gene was my husband.
But that's
Everett.
it.
And I love that
Gene
she
is a
honored
Haitian
him.
name.
But well, no, it's Gene, not the Gene like Jean.
Oh,
Is Gene?
Right, which is from like Eugene. which is
Yeah,
like-
okay,
oh,
gotcha.
okay.
It's thank God, honestly, it's not. his
I like
first
it
name
the other
because
way
I don't think I
around.
could.
Gene Everett.
It's just hard. It's hard to hear, and I love that she honored him, but it's hard to hear.
Oh, wow.
You know, well, you know, she
As
got.
long as she doesn't say it all together,
Right.
because
She
when we
just
say
says
her name,
Everett.
we don't say the middle name.
No,
we just say
I
the
think
first
she's
name.
only going to use it when he's in trouble as he gets older, right?
Right. You say the full
so,
name. That's
you
how
know,
I do.
Gold that she is. She got, first of all, she has pictures all over her house after he died. Like 18 by 24 is my husband's naval graduation picture, like all this stuff, like it's like a shrine to him. And
So
I'm
let,
like, oh
so
my
let
God.
me ask you, when you're dealing with death, and I know we all have, is it hard to keep their belongings around or just get rid of it so that you can move on with your life?
It's hard to get rid of it, but you need to.
I put things away almost immediately because I couldn't bear to look at it.
Right.
But I did not get rid of it. I didn't do anything
Yeah,
big
read it
for a
like
year.
out of sight.
Yeah, I didn't do anything big for a year because I knew that what I would do would be irrational in that first
Mhm.
year. So I waited.
You like Joan Didion?
Yeah, sometimes. I
She
just
wrote a
read-
book about when her husband
I
died.
think you're magical thinking.
Yeah.
I want to read Miami, which I just pulled out. I have it. I started the LA one and it was so fucking depressing. I couldn't stand it, and I have to put it down. I couldn't do it.
Pass me that.
Anyway, here's Everett on Halloween.
Yes.
Is he growing a lot?
He is. He's growing a lot.
That was recent, right?
Yeah,
And there's
he's a
no
week old.
issues
He's
with
10
his
days old.
lungs
Oh,
or any.
wow.
There's
No,
no
thank God, he's
issues
fine.
with his
No,
lungs
he's
or
totally fine.
anything. He
Thank
was
God.
completely
A
developed.
little jaundiced, but that was
Right.
it. He's totally fine, thank God. But she went out a few months after Jane died, and my husband, he killed himself, like with no warning, with no nothing. It was very hard. It was very hard.
So
And I
you
tell
have you
people,
been trying to process what reason?
Oh God, yes, and you can't. Sharonda told me, and she's right.
You'll
The
never
thing,
know.
The thing that you really want more than anything else that will destroy you, but is the hardest thing to give up, is trying to understand what the fuck happened and why. Because you can't know. There was no note. There was no nothing. There were no signs. There was nothing.
Oh God.
So Eric went out and got a tattoo that's right here, so everybody can see it. It's freaking huge. It's a heart with the date of his death and an anchor because he was our family's anchor. And I'm like, Jesus, Eric, I could not look at that every day. But we're all different.
Yep, and we
You know,
all
we're all
process.
We're all different. I told you about the grave. I'm sure I told you about the gravestone by him. Another thing the universe gives you if you're looking right. So I took 6 months, 7 months to figure out what I wanted on our headstone because I didn't want to make a rash decision. I just wasn't in a space to decide. So I finally decided. They brought the headstone. I went to see it. And I look over and like one row up and like one grave over, there's a guy who died right around when Jean did, within a few months, close to his age. And the inscription is, "You burnt your mother's heart."
Burnt your mother's heart?
Burnt. And I'm like, wow, this is why you don't make rash decisions on a freaking headstone, right? Like, whoa.
But people are not
That is-
traditional these
No,
days anyways.
no,
They want
but-
to put anything on
No,
there.
but holy cow, right? You burnt your mother's heart, like literally for eternity. So of course I have to look this guy up, right, and figure out what he did if I can find out. And he was a lifelong peeping Tom who was in and out of jail and was in his 40s and was peeping in this woman's bedroom, and her boyfriend was there and he caught him. And he went outside and beat him to death.
Mm.
And I'm like, okay, that's why you burnt your mother's heart, and you kind of did. And thank you, Jean, for being buried near somebody like this, because now I have this awesome story. And people are like, whoa! You know, and I get to tell this crazy story, which is nuts.
Burnt your mother's heart.
Yeah. Can you imagine?
Yeah, I'm not finding a lot of grace there.
No, there's not a lot of grace
From
there.
Mom.
Whoever put it there was angry. They
Well,
were
that's what I mean,
bitter and
like,
upset.
She was angry and she did it. It was not long after he died, and I know because of the dates on the thing.
And
know
I
about
guess she
it.
wanted to make sure she never
Yes.
changed her heart.
Yes.
So when she go to that grave and read it, oh, I remember what you. Yeah, you did.
Right.
So
And I do. I'm telling you. I look at it and I'm like, and this is why we don't make rash decisions about inscriptions on headstones. Because this is what
well, it's
they
gonna
put.
cost her to change it.
Yeah, but you
Oh,
burnt
yeah.
your mother heart on a gravestone as if he's going to get that message.
I think
No, they
you know
want
what? I
everybody to
think
see the
maybe-
message, the living to see the
Right,
message.
maybe because she
To
doesn't,
know that
she
he-
wants people to know she didn't approve of what he did.
Okay, but on a
Only the
Whatever.
living would get
I
it,
mean,
Serica.
no,
The
but
dead won't get it.
no, but it's one of those things where I don't see the grace.
No, there's no grace.
I
At
don't,
all.
I don't.
There's not.
Grace wasn't a part of this.
I don't
Grace showed up,
see the
showed up and
grace.
left.
But also,
Yeah,
I
I love that.
also, it is a constant reminder of your lack of grace.
Yes.
But the people are coming from that place. Okay, so
They don't
I
think
have
that.
I have an idea. We need to watch, or you need to watch because I already watched it. If you haven't seen it, the Betty Broderick thing. So there's a series on it's on the,
Blondish who was on
it's
like a cop show or
Dirty
something.
John. There's a series called Dirty John on I think it's Netflix. It's either Netflix or Amazon.
I got both.
And Dirty John, it's a 2-part limited series. So the first one is a guy that moves in on a woman and lies, and he's a narcissist and whatever, takes advantage of her, whatever.
Oh, he's on all the
etc.
dating sites. Sorry.
But
guys.
Betty, yes, Betty Broderick is a very famous case that happened I don't know, maybe 15 years ago.
So she's not who I'm
something.
thinking of, that blonde who was on like the Hill Street Blues or something
No,
like
no,
that.
no. Okay, so her story is she brings her, she marries young, she's raised Catholic, believes that her whole life is, supporting her husband and taking care of her children, puts him first through med school, then through Harvard Law.
Oh no.
And they start making a lot of money, start doing really well. He changes her in for a 20-year younger
Oh, of course he does.
receptionist, but also gaslights her the whole time for all the years. Sets it up so that he will leave her with nothing because he's a lawyer and he knows how to do this. And she ends up killing them, both of them, him and the wife. But here's the thing: she keeps coming up for parole, and she has no remorse. And that's why I'm bringing it up. She has no remorse for, and I totally get where she was coming from. I mean, I can see that. I can see why. I mean, she was insane.
Right.
He drove her insane. That's what happens if you lie constantly.
Right, you literally drive people insane.
The people that they don't have anything to hold on to. Like they can't get. They don't.
Like The Burning Bed. Do you remember that movie?
Oh God.
Yeah. So
What she did was justified. It was her only way out. I felt like.
right, but I guess the thing is that at some point she probably should at least be in a place where she sees that yes, what he did was horrendous, but also what she did was not okay.
But The Burning Bed, I felt like he was going to kill her if she did not stop him.
Right.
And our courts and our judicial system do a piss poor job of protecting women from those men.
I think they probably do a piss poor job of protecting men if the women are like that.
That
We
is
just
true.
have less.
No, we're
women.
terrible at protecting it.
We just have less.
Protecting
we just have less-
people
Yes.
from that. Yeah.
We
do
just
you,
have
do
less
you know the
women
story of The
that-
Burning Bed?
Mm-hmm.
I did. I was rooting for her when she set that bed on fire. I was. Probably not nice, but I had no grace for him.
Was that with Farrah Fawcett?
Yes.
Who is a beautiful woman, by the way.
Oh, she was so
Oh.
beautiful. Crazy. Yep, and so sad. What a sad way to go.
Breast cancer?
Anal cancer or something like that, and not that old, relatively speaking. Sad. So sad.
Yeah.
But she was, oh my God, she was beautiful.
I'm gonna go outside and smoke.
I'm gonna join you, but I gotta go.
I think we can wrap it up too.
I think we can.
So, my closing for today is a challenge to anybody who is interested in having a challenge to go find people, 2 or 3 people that are very different from you, and either try to find commonality or try to prove that there is none.
Oh, I love that. I will echo that. I think that's perfect.
Food. If there's no food at the meeting, it's an
Put it in an
email.
email. That's right. Gotta have food.
Food.
Gotta have food.
Yeah.
Have a wonderful week,
Yes.
everybody. See ya.
I'm gonna go smoky smoke.
Do you mind if I have a cigarette?